Good afternoon. Welcome to Spotlight on Urbandale. We've got the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce here, and we're going to spotlight some of our current members. And today we have to start off with, we have Pat Pitham, and he's with Imaging Technologies, and you are, from my understanding, the Director of Business Development.
That is correct.
Pat, tell me what that is. Tell me what that means. Director of... Sounds kind of important.
Well, it's basically sales manager.
Okay.
I'm what we consider a selling sales manager, so I have a certain area and accounts that I'm responsible for, but then I'm also responsible for our sales staff. So I manage their efforts and help them out every day.
Now, Pat, how many sales staff is that then?
Total of 6, including myself.
Okay. Has that recently grown? Tell me a little bit about how you started.
Yeah.
About Imaging Technologies.
Well,
let's start there.
Goes back a long ways. I started with Imaging Technologies back in 1986 as a salesperson, and managed a territory and have for a good majority of those years. But here, just in the last couple of years, we've really started to grow, and we've started to add staff, and we've started to grow our sales area. We used to cover about 5 or 6 counties. Now we're up to covering about 40 counties in the state of Iowa. So with that growth, required a lot of additional staff. So we brought on additional salespeople, and we needed somebody to help direct their efforts and help them with that. And I had a fair amount of success selling, so it was just kind of a nice fit.
Then did you create a program for your sales staff? How did you get up to speed to be able to coach, manage, train?
Yeah, we did. We've put together a program. It was kind of learned on my own, a lot of it, but with the help of a lot of other sales professionals that I subscribe to and listen to and read, and with a lot of their coaching, it's helped me establish and put together some different programs that help us with managing our staff and keeping them productive every day.
Well, talk a little bit about Imaging Technologies. What do you do?
Yeah, we're in the office equipment technology business is the easiest way to explain it. We've been around since 1937, so we have been around a long time. Our business started with a gentleman by the name of Gilbert Miner, and he sold typewriter ribbons, and so that was how our business actually started. And then, as technology just changes, so does our business. So we went from initially selling typewriter ribbons to, selling typewriters, to adding machines, to, all types of equipment like that. A big portion of our equipment, once we got into the 1970s, went into the copiers. And so our business was built on selling a lot of copiers. And then for those of you that are older like me, you'll remember that then we started selling fax machines. You'll remember that. That was a big thing back in the mid 80s, and so that kind of helped grow our business even more, selling fax machines. So and now we're into the copiers have changed so much. Now they're an MFP device. We refer to them as an MFP, which is a multifunctional printer. They print, they copy, they scan, they fax. So that's kind of once you connect it to the network, then that's kind of opened us up into a lot of other areas as well. So now we're not only just a hardware provider, but we also work with a lot of software, workflow solutions, and IT support. We do a lot of that's probably the biggest growth area of our business right now is our IT support. So we're that IT professional that a lot of small businesses can't afford. They'll outsource those services to us.
Now, with that IT support, is that still part of Imaging Technologies?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you made probably 2 years ago, made a move.
Yes, we did.
Your building. So tell me a little bit about what you did. You merged, didn't you?
Yeah. We have 2 different parts of our company, and one is M&M Sales Company, and that was when our company started back in 1937. They were M&M Sales, and they have been forever. But we were a separate branch of M&M Sales, and we mainly focused on a different product line. We have a couple different product lines. Konica Minolta is one of our manufacturers that we represent, our largest one, along with Sharp. And so the Imaging Technologies was the Sharp arm of our company, and we were in a separate facility. And we've merged some of our services. We brought our 2 service teams together. just to be more efficient and better. And you'll see some of our cars running around town that say MMIT Technical Services. And that's a merger of the M&M sales technical staff and the imaging technology technical staff. So with that, it just kind of made sense for us to move into that facility, and we had the extra space, and just in an effort to be more efficient and more productive, it worked out.
So you talked about the vehicles running around town. So you've got sales.
Yes.
And you've got service. Is that right?
That's correct.
So you service all of that equipment, the Sharp, the Minolta, all of those?
Yes.
Also?
All the equipment that we sell or that we put into a customer's office, we service and support all that product. And that's when you see those cars that are buzzing around town. Those are our technicians that are going on site to take care of those customers.
So back in the 1930s, how many employees do you think were there?
I'm not quite sure how many. That's a good question. I'll have to ask our current owner and his father, who's still alive, Jerry Miner, we're a third generation company. Gilbert started, as I'd mentioned earlier. Then Gilbert's son, Jerry, who's still alive today, he's in probably his mid-80s. He still comes in the office periodically. And then his son, Tom, has now been president for about 20 years. But that's a good question. I'll need to ask Jerry. I would guess it was probably very few. I think it was maybe just a couple, 2 or 3 people.
And now how big are you?
49.
49.
49 employees now. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Yep. So let's go back a little bit. You talked about initially back the typewriters. Now, I am a grandma, so I remember the typewriters. In fact, I even changed typewriter ribbons.
Yeah.
So that's dating us. Anybody have any typewriters these days?
Very few. Very few. Matter of fact, I was in an office one day and we got to talking about typewriters, and there was a young person there, I think, just fresh out of college, and they're like, "Tell me about these typewriters. What did they do? How did they operate? I mean, why would you use a typewriter?" So no, there's very few out there. I think there's still some people, some old timers like us, probably that once in a while get that typewriter out and pluck away on it a little bit.
I've still got one at home also.
Yeah. It's a little more of a challenge, I think, to find those ribbons today, though.
I would imagine so. So we talked about how you developed, that you started in sales and you went into the business development. There had to have been someone that influenced you. Tell me about your mentors. Do you have a specific one, or there's several ones along the way?
There's several along the way, but one in particular, named Larry Perry Sr. I work with his son today, who's Larry Perry Jr., but his dad is who was involved in our business. He retired about 10 years ago, but he was very instrumental in my early years, and he was that guy that was there to coach me and give me ideas and pump me up when I was out on the streets getting beat up all the time, and but yeah, he was. There's so many things today that every day I don't think there's a day that doesn't go by that I don't think about something that he told me, or if I'm in a sales situation, I would think, what would Larry? Let's see, how would he handle this situation? So yeah, he was a great mentor. I've had a lot of others, but he was the one that really stands out.
Stands out in your mind.
Yeah.
So Pat, tell me, are you a reader?
Not so much. Probably more of a listener.
Okay.
I'm kind of a junkie. Learning different sales strategies, different sales techniques, listen to sales trainers, but I'm not so much the reader. I like to listen to their podcasts. A lot of them, with the technology today, I can just put the earphones in and listen to the podcast. So I probably do a lot more than that. I probably should read more than I do, but it's just the convenience of listening is just better for me.
Let's talk a little bit about your background. Where did you go to school? Tell me all about you.
I grew up in a small town over in northwest Iowa. Very small little town. I think the current census now is 380 people. So
very small.
Very small. I graduated with about 62 in my class. It was a merger of several schools in the district. But grew up, went to a high school up there called Maple Valley, and decided that I wanted to get into business. Kind of made that decision partway through my senior year, and didn't quite know what I wanted to do for sure, but I knew I wanted to get into business. And a friend of mine who was a couple years older than me came down. He had come down to Des Moines and went to American Institute of Business. And he told me a lot about it, and I thought, boy, that really sounds appealing. I just really didn't want to go for 4 years. I wasn't that excited about that. But I knew I wanted to get into business. I knew I wanted to come to the city and kind of try that a little bit, see how that compared to the small town that I was from. And so that's what brought me to Des Moines, and it was just been look back.
Now, how long have you been in the Urbandale area? Because you live in Urbandale, correct?
I do.
And you're married.
I am.
And your wife is a teacher, from my understanding.
She's a teacher at Webster Elementary in Urbandale. She went back into teaching here about 5 or 6 years ago, once our kids were well on their way, and she took care of her twins, little boy, for a while. But once we got him into school, then she went back in and started subbing in the Urbandale School District, and then went to a part-time teaching, and now it's developed into a full-time teaching position.
How many children do you have, Pat?
I have 2.
2?
I have
okay.
2.
And ages?
Jennifer is 20. She'll be 21 in May. She's at the University of Iowa.
Excellent.
Actually, right now she's at John Cabot University. She might be listening. She said she was going to try to figure out on the web where this was going to be.
Excellent.
Yeah, so she might be listening right now.
Give a shout out.
Say hi if she is. But she's at John Cabot University in Rome, and she's studying there right now. Mm-hmm. And she's been there since January, and she'll be home here in about, I think she told me today, we were just Skyping before I came down here. I think she told me in 16 days she'll be home.
I bet you're looking forward to that.
Yes.
All right, so that's one child. You have another one.
And then I have a senior, Jamie. She's over at Dowling Catholic, and she's kind of wrapping her high school years up right now, and she'll be heading off to Cedar Falls to UNI here in a couple months. So she's excited to get over there and get going. So we'll be empty nesters here real soon.
I bet you're kind of looking forward to that to some extent.
To some extent, it'll be different. It'll be a lot different. We've been chasing kids for years and years, and going to their activities and their events, and so now we're gonna, I guess, kind of get our life back a little bit and start doing some things.
Any plans on traveling?
We travel every year. We maybe take one trip. We'll probably continue to do that. But I think we've kind of talked about maybe starting to play some golf, and I may start doing some of those things that I used to do years ago, like maybe a little fishing and hunting and some of those type of things.
Any fur babies at home, or?
Yes, we have. You're asking about the pets at home, right? Yes. We have a couple. We have actually too many, in my opinion. We have 2 cats and a dog. So, we have more than we need.
Now, didn't your wife get some special recognition through the elementary school?
She was, she was featured in the Urbandale Living, I think.
That's right.
Yeah, and there was an article in there probably 3 or 4 months ago, I think. That was a really nice article. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thanks for coming.
Well, you bet. Well, I really enjoyed it.
This is Spotlight on Business with Urbandale Chamber of Commerce. And remember, every Tuesday at 9 a.m., stop by the Chamber office, have a cup of coffee, not cinnamon rolls, not spare ribs, I don't cook, as Mac likes to say, but stop by for a cup of coffee, learn about the Chamber, and get all your questions answered. And thank you for joining us.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hey, psst. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ready? Always try to do business with people, not places. Especially if you seek honest Christian business people. And when it comes to my car, I really need to trust who's working on it. Now, my family is so blessed. A few years ago, we found a family-owned automobile repair shop that operates as a Christian business also. Open, honest, reliable, trustworthy. It's AMCO on Hickman Road in front of Kmart, and it's a family-owned Christian operating business. This family treats your car as if it was their car. Everything from oil changes to transmission repair and everything in between. So the next time you feel the need to be at peace with your choice of who you can trust with your car, give AMCO on Hickman a chance to serve you. And tell them Max sent you.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Spotlight on Business with the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce. I'm Janice Wissanan, Membership Director at the Chamber, and today I have a special guest. I have Mackenzie Driesen with me. Driesen, correct?
Driesen, yes.
Driesen. All right, I said that right the first time. And she's with Americans for Prosperity. Mackenzie, Americans for Prosperity. Tell me about that.
Well, we do a lot of different things. We're actually a nonprofit, nonpartisan political organization. So our main focus, I would say, would be policies and issues that are going on. And the issues that we focus on are economic issues. We support free market economy, fewer economic regulations, any policies that will promote businesses, especially small businesses, tax reform, and then we do a little bit with education and healthcare as well.
Okay, so I know that after you leave here, you're going to the Capitol. What's going on this afternoon?
I am actually. I'm actually going for an event that my brother is hosting. It's called Bubbles of Love, and what that is it's a parental equality activist group. And so they try to promote awareness of parental alienation and then, trying to make things as fair as possible and do what's best for families after a divorce.
Okay, so back to Americans for Prosperity. So it's a full-time position that you have. Is
Yes.
that correct? And then are you officed here locally?
We are actually, and kind of yes and no, I guess. Our main national office is in Arlington, Virginia. But then we're in 34 states, and in Iowa we have 5 offices right now. The ones we have right now are in Des Moines, Sioux City, Dubuque, Cedar Rapids, and the Quad Cities. And then this next month we're actually going to be opening an office in Council Bluffs. And by the end of the summer we're expecting to have an office in Cedar Falls as well.
So on a typical day, what does your day look like as you go through the day? Tell me about that a little bit.
I guess there isn't really such a thing as a typical day.
I didn't figure as much.
Some mornings I'll be at a breakfast event, for a breakfast, either a political breakfast club or the Urbandale Chamber that will start at 7 in the morning. And then maybe I'll have an event at the Capitol, like a committee meeting, or sometimes I'll go to House or Senate legislative sessions. I spend some time in the office, but then also going out and meeting with some of our activists, going out trying to network in the community and meet new potential activists. And then maybe in the evening, I'll go to like a central committee meeting or other political meetings that meet at night.
So you're nonpartisan, correct?
Correct.
All right. So when you are meeting with people, who do you want to get in front of? Do you want to get in front of small businesses, employer? What is it that you're really wanting to focus on getting in front of and getting to know more about and spread your word?
I would definitely say that small businesses are a great one, and those business owners tend to be with us on the issues. A lot of times people who are working in either education or healthcare. I know we actually have quite a few activists who are either homeschooled parents or students who tend to line up with us on the issues. So I would really say anyone who, supports economic freedom.
How do you stay up on the issues?
I read the Des Moines Register a lot. I watch the news on TV. I read articles online throughout the day. We actually have people who work in policy at our organization who also send us weekly legislative updates for what's going on in the National House and Senate.
And then the ABI, the Iowa Association of Business and Industry, I know on Thursdays they send out their legislative update. Does that help you, or are you aware of things that are already going on?
I actually haven't seen those as much, but I would say even just going down to the Capitol and going to legislative sessions or going to House or Senate committee meetings is how I stay informed.
So you stay informed that way. Can the masses stay informed that way? What are some tips for individuals if I give me to watch for?
Well, I would say anyone can go to the Capitol at any time. People are always welcome in the House and Senate galleries. People can sit in on different meetings of committees. So, like, say, if you wanted to learn more about education, you could go to either a House or Senate Education Committee meeting. If you wanted to learn more about transportation or agriculture, you could go to those committee meetings. But then I think also within your local community, you can talk to your state legislators at any time. Most of them are very open that they'll give you their email or their phone number that you can call or email them if you have questions or if there's an issue that you'd like to learn more about or that you would like to talk about with them. Many of them have legislative forums as well, at least once a month, or they'll travel throughout their district and have legislative forums where people can come in, and it's like a town hall style event where people can ask their questions and then legislators will give them an answer. So I would definitely recommend going to those as much as possible.
I'd like to go back to a little bit about small businesses. So I have heard some statistics that historically small business employees will usually be in line with their employer on their beliefs politically. Have you seen that at all?
For the most part, I would say yes.
So what can you do to educate the employees so they can take a stand and support where they want to be instead of following suit, let's say?
Well, one of the things that we're trying to start this year is called the Grassroots Leadership Academy, and that's part of our foundation program, which is the C3 branch of our organization. And so what that is, the course that we're trying to start here in Iowa, which will hopefully start at the end of July, is a free 6-week course. We have people come in from our national office to lead it. It's about an hour to 2 hours, depending on how many people show up and how many questions there are and what we discuss. But we have different sessions such as impacting your legislator. We just had one this last month as kind of a test run to see how many people would show up, who would be interested. And so in that session, we talked about how exactly to talk to your legislators, how to get a one-on-one meeting with your legislator, who might be some other activists who you could get in contact with who could also go with you to talk to your legislator, or how to use social media to convey your messages or opinions to the editor, because people do pay attention to those.
So a 6 weeks course, is it going to be an evening, during the day? What time are
We're
they
expecting
thinking?
there'll be an evening, probably, a Tuesday or Thursday night maybe.
And then how many individuals can you house where your location is?
At our office right now, our office in Clive is kind of small. So we actually hosted our last event at the Holiday Inn in Urbandale by the interstate. And I'd say we had probably about 30 to 40 people show up. But we are also making plans to expand our office here in Clive.
Are you? So what would be your goal for your July session? How many are you looking to want to participate in that?
I would say minimum, we're looking for at least 15 to 20. But, if we can get 40 to 50 people to show up, that would be wonderful.
So if I were interested in learning more about that, where would I go to find out information about those classes?
Well, you can talk to me, of course. But we also have a website, which is americansforprosperity.org/Iowa. And we have an events calendar with all of our monthly events.
And what's a number that they can reach you at?
That would be 319-471-0210.
Excellent. All right. So how did you get started in learning and being interested in politics?
Well, it's actually been kind of a long journey. I went to my first caucus with my parents when I was 16. I was homeschooled, and so in order to teach me about government and civics, my parents thought that it would be a good idea to take me to a caucus. So I went to the caucus with my parents. I got to see how that worked, and that was actually during the 2008 presidential election. And at the caucus, whenever they have the county convention, they choose junior delegates to go to the county convention, and the junior delegates get to have like their own little convention. They get to write a plank to add to the county platform. So I was a junior delegate at that convention, and I kind of got addicted to politics ever since then. So then in 2010, when I was actually old enough to vote, then I not only went to the caucus and voted at the caucus, but I also was a full-fledged delegate to the county convention. I was on the county platform committee, so we got to take all of the planks from the different precincts and write it into one platform for the whole county. And then I was a delegate to the district and state conventions, and I've been going as a delegate to state conventions ever since 2010. And then last summer, I actually got my degree in kinesiology. So I was a personal trainer for a while, but while I was trying to generate clients, I needed a part-time job. And so one of my friends saw on Facebook that I was looking for a part-time job, and he was working as a field director for the Polk County Republican Party. So I started working as a field director for them, going out doing door knocking, recruiting volunteers, giving volunteers direction so that they could go out and door knock and make phone calls. And then after doing that for about 3 months, then I got a job offer with Americans for Prosperity. They had heard about me through the party, and I've been with them since October.
So are you still using your degree?
I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily using my kinesiology degree professionally. I mean, it's still nice to have just because now I know how to design my own workouts or diet plans.
We need to talk.
I would still say that I use my overall college degree because I went to Cornell College in Mount Vernon, which is a liberal arts school. And I really feel that when you have that liberal arts education, it makes you more well-rounded. So even if you're not working in the same field that you have your degree in, you're still going to use the skills and information that you picked up from other classes that you took while you were in college.
Let's go back. You said you were homeschooled. Tell me a little bit. Do you have siblings? Where were you homeschooled at? Where are you from?
I've got 2 older sisters and an older brother. I grew up in Iowa City. We moved there from Northwest Iowa when I was 6. And the reason that my parents decided to homeschool me is because we were moving to Iowa City a month after I would have started kindergarten because my oldest sister was taking treatments for cancer at the University of Iowa hospitals. So my parents didn't want to put me in one school and then have to switch to another one right away. And then also my parents were both over-the-road truck drivers at that time. And so I would go with my parents in the truck, and my mom taught me how to read so that I wouldn't get bored. So I already knew how to read at that time too. And my parents had some friends who were homeschooling their children successfully, and so they decided they'd give it a try since my mom had a teaching certificate since she used to be a substitute teacher. And then it was going so well that we kept doing it until I graduated from high school.
Outstanding. So how long have you been in Des Moines then?
I moved to West Des Moines last summer after I graduated from Cornell College. My brother was living in Des Moines at that time, so I lived with him for a little bit, and then my college roommate was looking to move out from her parents' house, and so we ended up getting our own apartment together in West Des Moines.
So this is going to be a loaded question. Are you a reader?
Definitely. I read as much as I can. Unfortunately, I don't have as much free time to read as I would like, but that's actually one of the nice things about my job is that I get to do a lot of research, and so a lot of the reading that I do is for work, but I do read outside of work as much as possible too.
What do you like to read when it's not work?
I actually like what I call fluffy novels. So Jodi Picoult, I just read The Fault in Our Stars recently. Pretty much anything that doesn't make me think too much, since I do a lot of that during the day.
What do you do in your free time?
Reading is definitely something I do. I like to knit. I love to cook and bake, so I'm always trying new recipes. And then I like to sew too.
Now, there's one other piece. So you're a part of the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce, yet you're a connector. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
So our connectors, what they do is they are the extending arm of the chamber. The chamber staff were a small but mighty staff, yet what we do is we've got connectors. Yes, they used to be called ambassadors, but these connectors, what they do really good is connecting our members with other members that want to do business with. So how long have you been doing the connector gig?
Just for the last month, actually. I went to my first meeting here, a lunch meeting, a few weeks ago, and then we had a social at the Urban Grill this week that I went to also. And then I've also been trying to meet as many new members as possible. So just this last week, I've already had coffee with 3 of our newest members and gotten to know them a little bit.
Wonderful. Well, we certainly appreciate you taking the time and spending time with our new members, because it really does make a difference when our connectors get involved and get those new members engaged right away. You know, you're what, 3 months into your membership?
That's true. And actually, I would say, within my first couple of weeks of joining the chamber, I was getting bombarded with emails from the connectors saying, let's meet, let's have coffee. And I really appreciated that, because it's really helped me get to know not only the connectors, but also other members of the chamber, that as we were talking, they'd find out that I was interested, and then they'd realize that they knew somebody else who was interested in the same thing. And then we were able to meet up and talk about those things.
Wonderful. So tell us again, how do I learn about that July class?
If you go to our website, which is americansforprosperity.org/Iowa.
And then phone number?
A phone number is 319-471-0210.
Excellent. And it's a free. There's no cost to that?
That's right. So, and food will be provided as well.
Boy,
so
that's a bonus.
Last time we had spaghetti and breadsticks and the whole works from Olive Garden. So,
I was going to say, did you cook?
Actually, no, I did. I baked homemade cookies. So
Excellent.
There were also homemade chocolate chip cookies at our last event.
It might be worth to come just for the homemade chocolate chip cookies, in my opinion. Well, thank you so much for being our guest today on Spotlight on Business with the Urbandale Chamber. Remember, Tuesdays is special, 9 a.m. every Tuesday. Stop by the chamber office, learn a little bit more. We'll have connectors like Mackenzie there that are helping you get your membership up off the ground and make sure that you're taking advantage of all your new member benefits. Again, I'm Janice Wissanian, Membership Director at the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for joining us today.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs,
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed right or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team,
I'll take a call anytime.
and then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're gonna make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money-back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
Good afternoon and welcome to Spotlight on Business. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and this is from the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce. Uniquely Urbandale. Of course, my co-host, Janice Wissenand, is here, and today she's brought a special guest, Craig Hodson, right?
That's right.
And Craig is the new market manager for Cumulus Media in Des Moines. I shouldn't say new. How long have you been here?
2 years.
Oh, you're an old guy at this point.
Yeah, old guy.
And Cumulus Media, for those of you that don't know, is one of the largest, or are you the largest now?
We're the second largest radio company on the planet.
All right, second largest radio company. And you would know them as the folks that operate for you, the listener, 95 KGGO, 97.3 The Hawk, 92.5 KJJY, 98.3 WOW FM. Well, no, it's now called The Torch.
The Torch.
And
right.
AM 1700, who has my favorite sports guy on there, Marty Terrell. And you've got probably the best handful of properties for the radio community in town.
They're really, really great properties. We're very fortunate. Nice heritage with all of them, and great success. They're fun properties. Great staff.
Great staff.
Yeah, fine people over there.
And now you've got you own country, which is the KJJY, which is Nash Icon.
Right.
By the way, I when Big Radio came in, I thought, oh, they're going to ruin it, and they're going to do this Nash Icon or whatever it's going to be called. Very well done.
Thank you.
I'm a JJY listener, so
Thank you.
Very well done.
Yeah, the company's had great success with the Nash brand. We reformatted or renamed basically the Hawk back in a couple of years ago to Nash 97.3 FM, and been a huge success. The station was doing well prior, but that even helped it further. It's targeted a little younger on the younger side of the country audience, but honestly, the audience goes from cradle to way old. I mean, it's really a broad and
cradle to grave
audience.
Is what we.
Well, grave. I was trying to avoid that word.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
So that did well, and then the Icon offshoot is for the little older segment, the Icons of country music, which anybody over 35, 45 years old can really relate to.
Yeah, I resemble that remark.
Yes.
And you seem to be centered in about 1986, 87.
I'm not knee deep in the programming.
Because I love the stuff you play. I mean, it's great stuff.
There's some 80s, a lot of 90s, and the early 2000s. Which is there's some great music.
Yeah, and then you guys have one of the top syndicated morning shows on KGGO with Bob and Tom.
Right.
Those guys, and you know that if you've been here, but they come into Des Moines very regularly and support the radio station.
They do.
And then you got that dude named Clutch.
That's right.
You talk about an icon in rock and roll radio.
Don't tell him.
I won't tell him. I see him. He comes to concerts every once in a while, and I'll be working the concerts or something, and he's a good guy.
He is a good guy, and he does a great job on the air.
Oh, yeah. I love that voice. Yeah. And then you've got The Torch, which you've got your own morning show.
We do.
Yeah.
Robert Reese and The Morning Drive.
And then you went to, don't tell me, Glenn Beck.
Glenn Beck.
And now you just went to Jonathan Brandmeier.
That's right. Dennis Miller was part of the Cumulus lineup, and he decided to hang up his radio show. So they have put Jonathan Brandmeier's show on. Cumulus bought Westwood One, which is one of the largest radio networks in the country. It's the old NBC radio network, a zillion years ago.
Yep.
And that's a program that they've picked up, as a lot of ours are. A little bit experimental at this point. He's got a great following. It's a great show. It's a little different from the rest of our lineup right now.
But so is Dennis Miller, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although I kind of enjoyed Dennis's show.
I did, too.
Yeah.
It was so different. Mm-hmm. The politics was light and the comedy was heavy.
Right.
And like Dr. Savage, who I've read his books and love listening to him, he's so heavy into politics and very little sarcasm, but if it is, it's dripping.
Right.
And Brandmeier, a lot of people don't know, he was big in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Does he still live in Chicago?
He does.
Okay.
He does. Yeah, it's, Chicago's one of those markets where, everybody just changes stations.
Yeah.
But they still and he's one of those guys.
Yeah, and then Mark Levine,
which is the guy I hear about. I mean, boy, the
really?
Torch listeners love him.
Really?
Just love him.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. And then you've got Dace from 8 to 11.
Steve Dace, that's right.
And what do you do all nights?
We've got something called Red Eye Radio.
Yeah.
And
that's a Cumulus product.
I believe it is. Yeah, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. They keep me away from programming.
Do they?
Yeah,
I know the feeling.
Leave it alone.
Yeah, you have got the office in the back. Go back there.
That's right. Go back there and bother the salespeople.
And then you've done a very good job of the resurgence into the sports market with the Champ AM 1700.
Thank you.
With Marty and Miller.
Marty and Miller, which is it's great to have them back on the air. I like to joke and say we got a 4-year contract, 1 month at a time.
Yep, I understand.
But
Marty worked for me for about a year, so I understand.
They have a great following. First day they had like 26 calls that first hour or something. It was like, are you kidding me?
Well,
so it's great.
The best, and I see Marty probably once a week, and the best compliment I always give him, I am a zero sports fan. If it's not Nebraska football, I don't care.
Right.
But I listen to them.
Right.
I don't know what they're talking about half the time, but they're so entertaining.
They're having fun doing it.
Yeah.
You bet.
All right, well, so we just talked about the listener side of what Cumulus does. Let's talk about the other side. There's 3 sides. Let's talk about the second side, which is serving the business community.
You bet. You bet. We have a very client-focused sales philosophy, which, I think all of our people are in total sync with. We're all about just having conversations and uncovering, the business's objectives, what they're trying to accomplish, what's working for them, what's not working for them. I mean, it's all about getting more business.
Yeah.
So I like to say what we really sell is money. We use radio to help do it, but everybody wants more customers and more money, and that's the lubrication of society. So we like to focus in on what their needs are, what they're trying to do, what's working, what's not, where they are in the competitive hill, and how we can help them develop a brand driver, recommend things outside of our own stations. We often recommend other stations in the market with audiences that are, unique to them.
Good business marketing people do that.
You bet. And hopefully they do that some of our way. I'm sure that happens from time to time. We kind of look at their whole marketing plan, make recommendations, usually includes a radio schedule because we can help just about anybody. We've got mass reach about 250,000 listeners a week with those 5 stations. And great targeting. So you can slice in on just about any area you want demographically and psychographically. So it's great, and we can turn solutions on a dime. We have a tremendous sales staff. I've acquired or assembled a great team. Had some folks that were there, and have hired a number of others. So we're up to 12 salespeople, and they are all out there talking to businesses, trying to help them every day, and it's really fun to see the successes and hear the stories. And I mean, they're every day, every sales meeting, we're hearing stories.
Yeah, I'm an old radio guy, still am after 43 years. And I'm sorry, radio works.
It does.
You can give me pictures of fancy people in the newspaper, and you can make color things in HD on TV all day.
That's right.
But what really sells is the theater of the mind.
And it works just the way it did when we were young and fell in love with it as consumers, which I get a kick out of. It's one of my passions. And another one of my passions is to see just how pervasive it still is in our society. I mean, 70% of all the audio is consumed on AM/FM radio.
Yeah.
The 30% of the other stuff you hear a lot about, satellite radio, 5%, $80 million a year. We do more than that in Dallas, by the way.
Yeah.
Pandora, 3-4% in the market this size. I mean, it's, those are all great, but that's not where the listening is. It's still good old-fashioned radio, and it's 93.6% of all Americans and all Des Moines residents every week, and they spend about an average of 2.5 hours a day. Great medium. Medium.
Absolutely. And Cumulus, better than probably anybody, my opinion, has figured out a way to bring those national brands and those national hosts, but also keep it local. I don't think anybody does it as well as you guys do. I mean, the only station I probably don't listen to is GGO. I'm just not a rock guy.
Right.
But I'll listen to Clutch coming home just so I can have a good laugh out loud.
Sure.
Now, the third leg of your three-legged stool is what you do for the community. You've got your public service. I know Kim does a lot of your public service.
She does.
A lot of the promotions that you do are very focused on. I know Eddie and Big John every year are right there in the middle of the Children's Miracle Network. and some of those other things?
Do the Variety Club telethon
Yep.
or radiothon for kids, which is a big fundraiser for them. It's been big for many, many years. We also do the St. Jude's radiothon on Nash FM. And I think we raised,
those.
gosh, I'm trying to remember. It was six figures, into six figures this year.
Yeah.
In a 2-day span. So pretty proud of that.
Now, you've also got a big country concert coming up this summer.
We're always, we've always got things going. Always got things going.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you being here. Now, before you leave, I have to ask you, you've got the pipes. So you started out behind the mic, right?
Got a little laryngitis I'm going through. I did. Back when dinosaurs roamed the earth.
I know, I understand.
I fell in love with the business as a kid. I saw my first remote when I was 4. I drugged my dad across the street, and I said, that's for me. And I got in it when I was 13 and really never got out of the business. So.
Good. And where were you on the air?
Indianapolis. That's hometown.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a heck of a market to break into in the beginning.
It was a good town. Reminds me a lot of Des Moines.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, in many ways, except we don't have any pro sports. But besides that, we are a lot alike.
Yeah.
So how about Craig himself? Are you a reader?
I am.
What do you like to read?
I like historical biographies. Much more interesting than fiction.
Okay.
I like to read the Bible every day, as I'm a Christian, and try to wear that on my sleeve to the extent possible without being obnoxious.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I don't really do much in the secular world anymore. I don't think I'd fit very well. I think I'd probably get blasted by human resources and all that stuff.
Well, I find it pretty easy in Des Moines. There's an awful lot of Christians, a lot of folks on our staff. We're supposed to be salt and light. So it doesn't mean we're not accepting of anybody that doesn't believe the way we are, because Jesus is and was, and so are we. But it's all good.
So what apostle do you remind yourself of?
Oh, my. Well, I'll say Peter, because Craig is the Scottish version of Peter. Means rock.
All right.
That may be where the similarity starts to end, but I'll go with Peter.
All right.
A little brash sometimes.
Yeah.
Reminds me of that when I was young.
Okay. Oh, no, you're not brash anymore?
Less brash.
You don't hit sales goals at the end of the month? There's not a little brash Craig that jumps out at us?
You know what? We're doing so well.
Listen to you.
We are
All
doing
right.
so well.
All right, last question. You can spend an hour with anybody, living or dead. Who is it?
I'd say Jesus, but I'm going to get to that. I have a lot of time with him. I've always been very fascinated with FDR, just the things that he did and accomplished and the way he did it, and the historic times. He'd certainly be on the list. Abe Lincoln, obviously. Who wouldn't have him on the list?
That's right. Honest Abe. I'm an autograph collector, and I've always wanted his autographs.
Bill
but
Paley, what he did with building CBS.
Sure,
and
absolutely.
How he nurtured the radio talent over to television. And David Sarnoff, his nemesis, who was the technical guy behind radio and television in those days. Those guys all fascinate me.
I bet you and I could talk radio and TV till our wives kicked us out.
I bet we could.
Yeah.
And they might.
Hey, it's a pleasure meeting you.
Likewise, man.
And I know it's 2 years late, but welcome to Des Moines. This is a wonderful, wonderful community.
Thank you.
And you belong to a wonderful Chamber of Commerce.
Absolutely do, and they are terrific. Love Tiffany and Janice and everybody over there. They do such a wonderful job.
Now, I haven't traveled around as much as you have in your life, but I'd be willing to bet you haven't found a Chamber of Commerce that good.
That's true. That's absolutely true. They really do knock you out. And their events are absolutely tailored to exactly what you want to do in a chamber, and that's meet other business people, and they're unashamed about it, which is very nice.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of events, you guys have Meet the Chamber Thursday morning. No, Tuesday morning. Tuesday mornings, 9 o'clock. Yes. And this next week, the swimming pool supply company is going to set up a big pool out in the front yard of the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce right there on 100th Street, right, in the old Artist Furniture Building.
Correct.
And Janice is going to give kayak lessons. She's going to have a little yellow kayak and her little yellow life preserver, and she's going to teach us how to... No,
we're going to have coffee.
Okay, good coffee.
I was going to say we might broadcast live from that.
Yeah. Make it Jello. Make it a Jello jump. When I was at Coil in Omaha, we used to have the 1290 Coil Jello jump, and people jump into a pool full
You were
of...
at Coil in Omaha?
Yeah.
See, I grew up listening to Wife in Indianapolis. See, we have more things to talk about.
Well, Don Burden owned them both, right?
He did.
Absolutely. All right. For those of you that have taken the time to listen to this podcast, I thank you. This is a service that the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce brings to you, because the Chamber of Commerce is more than a sign or a building or a ribbon once in your lifetime when you open something. The Chamber of Commerce is there to help you market. The Chamber of Commerce is there to help you network. And most importantly, the Chamber of Commerce is there to make successful businesses successful sooner, just like Cumulus Media does. So, for Janice and Tiffany and everybody down at the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce, I'm J. Michael McCoy. Thanks for listening. I love this job. Couldn't do it without you. We are uniquely Urbandale. Good night.